UFC 323 takes place this Saturday, the last pay-per-view of the year, the end of the ESPN era. And these are my predictions to every single fight on the card. Starting off with the main event, we have got Merab taking on Petr in their rematch. This fight will not be close. Their first fight, Merab literally beat him 50-45. I know Petr since then has been on a 3-fight win streak against Song Yadong, Figueiredo and Marcus McGee. None of those guys though fight like Merab, and since their first fight, Merab has established himself as the greatest bantamweight in MMA history, racked up multiple title defenses. Now Petr did say that he was injured going into the first fight. He had an injury in his right hand that wouldn't really allow him to throw it. I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. Petr is not a big puncher. It's not as if he's got one-shot KO power in his right hand either. So I don't really think the fact that he couldn't throw his right hand properly and now he can in this fight is going to make much of a difference, to be honest. Now, Petr does have really good takedown defense. In fact, some of the best takedown defense in the UFC. And in their first fight, Merab shot like 50 takedowns in there, and Petr done a really good job of almost defending nearly all of them. I think he shot nearly 50 takedowns in their first fight and only got like 6 minutes of control time in a 5-round fight. So even when Yan was taken down, he was showing good ability to get back to his feet. But even though he can defend the takedowns and get back to his feet, he can't keep Merab off him. Merab will outwork him and drown him in there with his pace. Because yes, he can defend the takedowns, but he doesn't have the punch power to get Merab's respect to stay off him. And Petr uses that high and tight guard, which will just welcome in the volume striking of Merab, who has really improved his striking. Now, Merab, a lot of people are picking Merab, well, I've seen online anyway, Merab TKO or Merab KO over Petr. Yo, this guy rocked Corey Sandhagen. He couldn't get the finish. He's not Alex Ferreira. He's not going to knock out Petr, who does have a granite chin. I think he will beat him. I think it will be very one-sided. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this is another 50-45 to Merab. He just has that fight style that Petr will always struggle with. I think this is another win for Merab. Moving on to the co-main event, we have got Pantoja taking on Joshua Van. I know a lot of people are wanting Joshua Van to win this. He's got a very fun fight style, really good boxing, hits hard for being a flyweight. Pantoja though is on a different level in my opinion now. Pantoja does just plod forward, plot armor his way in. We've seen it against Kai France, and I don't know, will that be an issue in this fight because Joshua Van's boxing? If Pantoja's just walking in with his head down, Joshua Van could crack him with an uppercut. But my thing is, Joshua Van does his best work with his striking when he's the aggressor. And I don't think he's going to be able to push Pantoja back. I think Pantoja's just going to walk forward, use his kicks, which Pantoja has really good kicks. I actually think Pantoja's a pretty underrated striker. Not a better striker than Joshua Van. If this fight takes place for 25 minutes on the feet, Joshua Van will win. But I just see Pantoja having a very similar performance to the Kai France one. He's not going to show Joshua Van respect on the feet. Joshua Van isn't going to be able to back him up. Pantoja is just going to walk forward, throw his kicks, get him against the cage, get a body lock, drag him down. And I think it's a very, very similar performance to the Kai France fight, and I think Pantoja will submit Joshua Van inside 2 rounds. That's my prediction. I think in the second round, Pantoja will get the sub, rear naked choke on Joshua Van. Next up, we have got Brandon Moreno taking on Tatsuro Taira, another flyweight matchup. If this was 5 rounds, I'd be really confident in Moreno. But with it being 3 rounds, and when you go back and watch the Moreno-Pantoja fight, very close, but Pantoja done really good work into the back of Moreno, and Tatsuro Taira is arguably one of the best at doing that in the UFC. But I'm going to pick Brandon Moreno to win this. Number 1, Tatsuro Taira's striking is copper 5. It's dog shit. He's got some of the worst striking in the UFC, in my opinion. Hasn't developed any head movement at all. Brandon Moreno's got some really good boxing. He also does a good job, which I think he'll adapt in this fight, is having a low base. So it makes it harder for Tatsuro Taira to get his grappling off. I think maybe Moreno wins the first round. Tatsuro Taira maybe gets to a dominant position with his grappling in the second round. Maybe catches a kick of Moreno, then maybe transitions to the back. Moreno stands up. A lot of it's Tatsuro Taira on the back of Moreno. But then I think in round 3, Brandon Moreno will be able to stay on the feet. And on the feet, Moreno is a much better striker. I think Brandon Moreno, and also the fact that the UFC are dying to have like a big Mexican star or a Mexican champion, Brandon Moreno, if it is a close fight, it's probably going to get the nod. Even though Tatsuro Taira is young and it will be a new fresh matchup, we know the UFC are dying to have a Mexican champion again. But I think Brandon Moreno striking and his takedown defense will be enough to secure him the win against Tatsuro Taira by decision. Moving on, we've got Henry Cejudo taking on Peyton Talbot. Henry Cejudo coming in at a plus 230 underdog. I actually might remortgage my house to put it on. Henry Cejudo is going to win this fight. Peyton Talbot is very underrated. Now, there's a big size difference, in this matchup. Henry Cejudo's 5'4", Peyton Talbot's 5'10". There's a 6-inch reach advantage for Peyton Talbot in this matchup. But Barcelos, yes, he exposed Peyton Talbot's grappling. But the thing with Henry Cejudo, even though he is an Olympic gold medalist, he doesn't shoot with that type of volume. He's a good wrestler, but has never really been great at controlling opponents, in my opinion anyway. Yes, he can get you down, but there's a lot of scrambles that come with it. Peyton Talbot, though, it might be different because he isn't the best at scrambling or defending takedowns, but maybe him and Frank Ocean have improved on their grappling, who knows. I am going to go Henry Cejudo. It's his retirement fight, I believe, so he says. I think there is just too much of a gap in their grappling. Plus Henry Cejudo, yes, he's on a bit of a losing streak. Song Yadong, he got eye poked. Aljamain Sterling split decision, second best bantamweight of all time. Merab, he caught and hurt Merab with a left hook, lost to the greatest bantamweight of all time. No shame in a lot of those losses. And those guys are much more high level than what Peyton Talbot is. Now Talbot he's a good striker, he hits hard, but Henry Cejudo has a chin on him. With it being the retirement fight, I think he will have that extra motivation, and the blueprint is there to beat Peyton Talbot, so I am going to go for Henry Cejudo to win this matchup. Moving on, we have got Jan Blachowicz versus Bogdan Guskov. Jan Blachowicz is winning this fight. Even though he's on a 2-fight losing streak, he beat Carlos Ulberg, in my opinion. I was there live watching the fight. I thought Jan won that, and he arguably beat Alex Pereira in the fight before that. Bogdan Guskov, yes, he is a bit of a prospect. I know he's ranked, but in the light heavyweight division, he's on form at the minute. But when he fought someone like a well-known guy in the division that's been at a decent level, Volkan Oezdemir, former title challenger, he lost. I think Jan Blachowicz is going to win this matchup. I think he utilizes his kicks really well. And I also think Jan Blachowicz could use his grappling to win this matchup as well. That's what I think. I mean, Volkan Oezdemir subbed Bogdan Guskov. Never been known for his grappling. Not that Jan's known for submissions or anything, but he could utilize his wrestling. I think Jan Blachowicz is very underrated in the grappling department. And after seeing what that fight against Ulberg looked like, I still feel like he's got a lot left to give in the sport. I'm picking Jan Blachowicz to win. Moving on, Grant Dawson versus Manuel Torres. I'm picking Manuel Torres to win this matchup. Grant Dawson. Now, Manuel Torres hasn't fought a grappler of the level of Grant Dawson. Now, Manuel Torres is an 89% takedown defense, but when you look through his resume, it's not as if he's been in there with very high level grapplers. And 2 out of his 3 losses have came by submission, but it's heel hook and knee bars, which isn't something Grant Dawson really has in his game. The reason why I'm picking Manuel Torres is the guy's a killer, and Bobby Green knocked out Grant Dawson with a fart. So I'm picking Manuel Torres to win this matchup. It is very risky. I understand why he's the underdog. Grant Dawson is very, very good. His wrestling is very, very good. But I think Manuel Torres, look at what Manuel Torres done to someone like Drew Dober, who is known for having a chin. I think he lands on Grant Dawson. I think this is like Sean Brady, Michael Morales. That's what I think is going to happen. I just think Grant Dawson isn't going to get the takedowns off early enough. Manuel Torres is going to land those shots, and it's just going to be panic station for Grant Dawson, and he's going to get caught, and he's going to get finished, and Manuel Torres is going to beat him. Moving on, Terrence McKinney versus Chris Duncan. This is a car crash of a fight that I can't wait to see. I always pick Chris Duncan to lose, and I don't want to pick him to win this fight, and then he does lose. But I'm going with the Scottish Warrior, Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan, tough, durable. This guy wants to win. I think he'll be able to survive Terrence McKinney's onslaught early on. And I think he finishes Terrence McKinney. Chris Duncan will win. Title run starts 2026. I'm calling it. Moving on, Macy Barber versus Karine Silva. Nice to see they've added a piss break in between. Macy Barber wins. Moving on, we have got Nazim Sadikov taking on Ferreira. Ferreira is one of the best unranked prospects in the lightweight division. I'm picking him to win this fight. He's got really good wins on his resume. Obviously, he did get subbed by Terrence McKinney, which isn't great. But his last one against Mike Davis, very underrated in my opinion. Everybody, those who know ball know how good Mike Davis is. Nazim Sadikov, yes, he is good. Had a very, very fun fight against Nicholas Mota. But it's Nicholas Mota and he was having success. I'm going for Ferreira to win this matchup. I think he is just... I think he's ranked level. I think Ferreira should arguably... Well, not should arguably, he hasn't fought the opponents, but has the ability to be in the rankings. I think he's that good. I don't know if Nazim is. I'm going for Ferreira to win this matchup. Marvin Vettori versus Bruno Ferreira. However you say that Brazilian guy's name. The Hulk. Now, I'm picking Marvin Vettori.
Bruh.
Hear me out. Granite chin. Bruno Ferreira hits hard, yes. Vettori's got a granite chin. Bruno Ferreira's never been to a decision before. And when he got to the third round, he got subbed by Abbas Magomedov. Marvin Vettori has the volume. Kinda. I think it's going to be a very bad first round for Marvin Vettori. I think he gets hit with the fucking kitchen sink by Bruno Ferreira in the first round. I think his face is an absolute mess. Rounds 2, rounds 3, Marvin Vettori weathers the storm. Ferreira fades. Marvin Vettori by decision. I'm calling it right now. Marvin Vettori's going to win. Edson Barboza versus Jalen Turner. Bit of a weird one. Jalen Turner kind of quit in his last fight, in my opinion. 14-9 is an awful record. Edson Barboza, legend of the sport, getting really old. Hasn't been really active. Yes, he's had the more recent fight out of the two. He lost to Jakar Close. I'm going to go Jalen Turner. I just think he's going to do more damage in this matchup. I think he can cause more damage at this point than Edson Barboza. Although this is a tough one to pick because... Is Jalen Turner back because he wants a payday, or is he back because he's got his shit in check? We're going to find out 79. I'm going to go Jalen Turner to win. Moving on, we have got Ibo Aslan versus Awo, however you say this guy's name, making his UFC debut. Says he's 1-0, he's 6-0. He won in the Contender Series. Ibo Aslan's ass. Let's move on. Mansour Abdul Malik is going to KO Dracoli. Pretty sure this guy's only in the UFC because he was with Mackenzie Dern. Could be wrong, could be someone else, but that's why I think he's only there. He's ass, regardless. And Abdul Malik, big puncher. He's going to knock him out. Moving on, Mohamed Naimov, crafty, versus Myron Santos. I'm picking Myron Santos to win this matchup. So those are my predictions for UFC 323. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you all again in the next one.